Hello and welcome to Leeds. Today we're at the NPIC Summit 2026 with some of the UK's leading voices in digital pathology, healthcare data and artificial intelligence. They've gathered to discuss what's next for data-driven healthcare. Throughout the day we'll be speaking with the experts from across the NHS, academia and industry to explore how data and technology can improve research, diagnostics and further improve patient care. Let's go meet some of these leading voices. Hello and welcome back. I've now got an opportunity to sit down with Dr. Darren Traynor, who is the director of NPIC and has obviously played another pivotal role in organising the NPIC Summit 2026. Just to ask you a few questions then, Darren. There's so many digital pathology meetings out there. What's different about this one and why is it so important to have this summit here in Leeds?
Yeah, you're right. There's been an explosion in conferences in digital pathology and AI over the last few years, and I think it shows the interest in the domain and how much it's growing around the world. The NPIC Summit is a very specific event for the NPIC program itself. We've been going since 2018, but we realised as we progressed towards independence and a medium-term goal that we needed somewhere to get all of our stakeholders in one room and share what we've been doing. There's so much going on in NPIC on the clinical side, on the research side, and in working with hospitals and with the life sciences industry. We needed an event to have everyone in the room so they could see the whole breadth of the summit rather than repeating it individually to all of them. It started in 2025 with a small event in the Armouries at Leeds, which is like the home of NPIC, and has been 120 people this year, and hopefully will grow in the future.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and I'm hoping that there'll be another summit in the future. In your brief, you mentioned that 2026 was going to be a pivotal year for digital pathology and NPIC. Could you enlighten us on why that is? And I think you mentioned that it would be a pivotal, specifically that it would be a pivotal year for the next 5 years.
Yes.
So why is that?
So I think digital pathology has come a long way and probably further and faster than we would have imagined in the early years of the technology. So we're now at a point, particularly in England, thanks to the funding that's been made available, where there is quite a lot of initial adoption of digital pathology and increasing maturity. So from an NPIC point of view, on the clinical side, we're now seeing hospitals fully digitised, really taking advantage of the technology to run their services. And on the research side, we're seeing an explosion in the interest in AI, image analysis, biomarkers linked to drugs that can be used to treat patients. So we felt it was the right time to say we've been around for 6 years now, 7 years, and we are looking towards the next 5 years rather than just going from year to year. So on the clinical side, we have a pretty firm foundation. Hospitals are live. Hopefully they're finding the system beneficial. And on the research side, we've got a wide group of stakeholders that we need to plan bigger activities with them over the next 5 years.
Yeah, great, thank you. And to ask you specifically about the summit today, have you got any key takeaways to take home with you?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting event this year. I didn't recognise quite a lot of the people in the room, which was good because it meant that the network is growing beyond what we thought it was. Lots of keen interest from the life sciences industry in what we're seeing here. And this year we made a theme of the fact that this is Leeds and this is a Yorkshire event, which we haven't always, because we've sometimes wanted to be seen as a neutral national programme. But I think it was important to highlight this year. So we were honoured to have the Chief Executive of Leeds Council and our the West Yorkshire Combined Authority Mayor, Tracy Braben, attend. And for me, they were in some ways the highlights of the day, because it was people who aren't in pathology going, this is pretty good, this is useful, this is exciting, and that was pretty good. And her speech at the end was probably the best speech of the day, and was really enthused the entire crowd.
Great, thank you, Darren. It's great to see this become a much bigger conversation with so many stakeholders and bodies involved in it as well. Not just from the pathology side, but from genomics and other diagnostic fields as well. Thank you, Darren. Welcome back. We've now got a really good opportunity to get some insight into the NPIC Summit from someone who's absolutely pivotal to its organisation. I'm sat here with Dr. Bethany Williams, who's the lead for knowledge and skills here at NPIC. Bethany, thanks for coming along.
Oh, well, pleasure to have you here at the NPIC Centre.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I thought we'd start by me asking what happens here at the summit.
Summit, well, this is only the second one of our NPIC Summits, and it's really an occasion for us to get together with our collaborators and our partners, some of our stakeholders, and it's partially a time to look back and maybe celebrate some of those successes that we've had over the last few years in deploying digital pathology clinically and in our research projects. But it's also a chance to really look ahead to the future and start thinking about how we can continue to develop these relationships between academia, the NHS and industry to further the pursuit of digital and computational pathology for our patients and for our public.
I think it's absolutely vital to have those discussions. In order to move forward with digital pathology and advance, we absolutely need to be having conversations with all the bodies involved, don't we? And a big part of that as well, I suppose, is the patients. And that was something that I love seeing at the summit, was that patient voice and having them involved. Why is that such an important piece for you to have here?
I think that's always been absolutely central to what we try and do at NPIC SID. So obviously I'm a pathologist, a doctor by background. Pathology is a specialty where you are a few steps removed from direct patient contact. You don't have that immediate feedback from patients. So we thought it was really, really important to make sure we put patients back. Yeah. Not just, they've always been at the centre of everything we do, but to make what we do visible and understandable to them. So that we can it's partly so that we can kind of sense check what we're doing, make sure we're moving in the direction that the public wants us to move in and at the timing that they are ready for. Because especially when we're looking towards the horizon and a lot of these computational techniques and artificial intelligence kind of
it can be a bit scary for the patient
that's looming, it can be very scary for clinicians and for pathologists as well. So we really need to make sure we're on that journey together because we've not just got to build up trust with the public, but we've really got to make sure we maintain that relationship and maintain that trust. Because there are people that are uncertain in the profession, just as there are in the public as well. So it's a kind of a journey of discovery together, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose just to add to that as well, and it's something I heard a lot about, was just the motivation. Having the patient there. It reminds you, why you do this.
Hugely. So I know you were there in the session where we had our wonderful patient representative, Graham Prestwich, who just spoke so eloquently and with so much passion about what he expects from us as professionals, not just in pathology, but in med tech in general. And being able to hear those words and hear that voice at the back of your head when you're in some of those meetings where you're maybe having to push hard with whatever hospitals you're trying to introduce digital in or whatever partners you're trying to form partnerships with. It's really good to have that voice in the back of your head that really, really pushes you to know, what does Graham expect of us now? What would he want us to do on his behalf? How do we advocate for Graham to make sure he can get the fastest, most accurate diagnosis and that his pathway is sort of smoothed as much as we can. So I know that's fantastic that you've sort of picked up on that, so that facet of the programme.
Absolutely.
It's very important to us.
Yeah, a really meaningful discussion, the panel they had. And last question for you, what were the biggest takeaways for you from the summit?
I think it's always about the partnership and the collaboration and how important it is to have those three major voices that we've got of the NHS clinicians, academia and industry getting together, listening to each other, prepared to maybe sort of set aside some of the thoughts around competition and actually sitting in a room with what you might traditionally call your competitors, but just thinking about how do we move forwards with the whole field of digital and computational pathology.
As a group,
and then it's as a group,
perhaps,
because at the moment we just want to see deployment to be as widespread as possible. Because real safe, high quality clinical deployment across the country, across the world is the best possible foundation for the next step, which is being able to create really reliable, robust artificial intelligence that can really, really support the pathologists, support the work of the laboratory, and most importantly, improve that pathway for patients. So it's all down to the name of NPIC. It's a cooperative. Yeah. It's about cooperating. It's about collaborating, and hopefully we will continue to grow those partnerships over the years to come, and invite start up new partnerships too.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks so much, Beth. I really appreciate the insight there. And looking forward to the summit next year.
Oh yes, we'll have to get cracking on that one. Thank you.
Thank you. We've now got a really good opportunity. We're sat here with Rick Salmon, who's the CEO and founder of PathQA. Rick, I'd love to ask you, why is this such an important meeting for PathQA to be at?
Well, we create the Sierra technology, which is involved in colour standardization. So you can take data from any different scanner and have a standardized quality assured response. And we actually co-developed that technology with members of the NPIC group, and we're one of the original UK SME members of the NPIC program. So for us, it's a bit of a homecoming to continue our relationship with what has been some of our closest and original research partners, and who have a shared message with us of quality assurance and quality control.
Yeah, great. And you mentioned quality assurance there. Can you tell us why that's so significant in digital pathology and also such a current topic right now?
Well, in principle, quality assurance matters at the core level of all clinical diagnosis. You need to know the trust, the source, the veracity of the data before you actually go and use it to do a effectively life-changing diagnostic. And with a growing market, there's lots of different providers, variation in the quality and consistency of data is on the increase. So having independent methodologies that can let you know how accurate your data is, at what point in time, how much these machines that create these images change over time, and importantly, provide a mechanism by which you can know that you're going to get consistent data is very important for, operationally driven environments like the NHS to understand exactly what's happening to their data. In the modern day, this is even more important when you consider the impacts of artificial intelligence, which has been well understood to be thrown off by high degrees of variability. So at least knowing the variation that the AI is experiencing is very important. And again, preferentially putting in a corrective mechanism so you always know how well your data is doing from any source is going to be incredibly important as AI gets rolled out into actual clinical adoption.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's been really interesting listening to the NPIC team today at the summit, who clearly are wanting to use AI more and more in their workflows. So yeah, it will become a more significant issue, I suppose, as we use more and more AI. If you do want to learn more about PathQA and Sierra Slide, you can find that information at Pathology News under their company showcase, or just go directly to the PathQA team over on their website. Rick, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.